Hey guys, it's Thea. Welcome back to the In the Garden of the Goddess Secret member space, and specifically to a special personal practice video for you guys from me. It's been a bit. I'm sorry, I owe you a couple, but it's just been crazy busy. I've got a couple lined up. They're happening. Some good tea, but for now, real quick, just get something out for you. I wanted to take some time. Hold on, just give me 2 seconds. Oof. Nice. I wanted to take some time to just kind of go through. It's not going to be like a full walkthrough. It's going to be just like a hangout with and play with this guy for a little bit. This is the ODYSSEAN Tarot by Welcome Press. And Chris Leach. It was a Kickstarter, and it just came in a day or so ago. So I have opened it. I've gone through the cards. I've done my introductory spread, but I haven't really played with it at all since then. And I thought, let's spend some time with it right now together with you guys, because why not? And I kind of also feel like doing a little bit of a reading for myself anyway. So we'll pull some cards, and we'll do it in like the slow way. So instead of my like usual like whip cards out, make a card mountain, say a million things, with this deck in particular, and decks like this that are very heavily laden with information, mythology, knowledge, and that sort of thing, I tend to read quite a bit more slowly, and I tend to only keep these kind of decks for reading with myself, because there's so much there, and I tend to absorb as much of the information as I can, and then the meaning will kind of the reading kind of boils down in that sense from it, instead of just taking specifically from tarot, because wow, this deck, this is something. So let's get right into it. Okay, this is the ODYSSEAN Tarot. This is a Greek mythology themed tarot deck, and it's good. I can't believe it. I'm so jazzed. I'm so pumped. So it's brand spanking new. It's from Chris Leach. I saw some cards of it before I backed it, and I thought these are the most beautiful things. It has multiple graphic elements to the creation of the cards, part of which is AI, which is interesting. This is the first deck that I have that has ever used AI in its creation, but at the same time, the majority of it is intentionally created through artistic medium and Photoshop. So AI was just used like as an element to generate images that didn't exist, that were needed for the context and to fit the theme. So I feel I'm okay about it. For some reason, personally, it's going to come down to personal preference. If you're like anti-AI across the board, this won't be one for you, but I feel like it really adds to it, and it's intentionally chosen because there's content to back it up. So from what I gather from reading what I have of the book, which there's a lot there. There's so much in here. But from what I have, he knows what's going on. Chris Leach, he's familiar with Greek mythology, not just from like learned and read perspective, but he comes at it from a spiritual perspective as well, which is really nice. Preface here. It's really good. I would recommend reading this. I'll put it here. Where will I put it? So I do not light it on fire, because that would be sad. Okay. There. I think you've got most of it in frame there. Pause to read, if you so choose. It's really quite good. I love that he's been to Greece. He spent time in Greece. He talks about his experience there in this, which is just enough. It relates it to me and my experience personally, as well as adds that lovely layer of intentionality and validity to the content, which I crave. I love. It's wonderful. It's great. It's so beautiful. And I will say this is above me in a lot of places. And I'm excited this is an opportunity for me to learn also. The suits have been renamed in the deck to Flame, Wave, Stone, and Wind, which is nice. Very elemental. I like that. I always like elemental choice suit names, which is fun. Aristocana are the major arcana, which is fine. Which is wonderful. Which just means they're like foremost and or best. Ahead of the crowd makes sense for the majors. And the face cards do kind of a fun thing. So the pages are the mortal of the suit. The knights are the demons. The kings are the deities, and the queen. Special appellations have been chosen specifically to the women in question. They're just kind of they're women figures. Antigone, Hippolyta, Circe, and who's the fourth one? Europa. Yeah, so just prominent female figures within Greek mythology. They're not given a specific name there, but it's an RWS style as well. It is based around the RWS tarot, so in theory you can just read it as that, but there's so much more in here in regards to Greek myth and their relation to the tarot cards, and I really feel like they're done quite well. Oh yeah, so they put the lovers, the sun, have more in common with the Tarot de Marseille. So just if it plays on that meaning a little bit as well. Oh, so good. Okay. And then we get into, okay, so here's the layout of the book. The book starts with the minors. So this is the Ace of Wands, and it's chaos. But, okay, one of my favorite things about this whole deck is if I wanted to do a quick reading, there is a Delphic Maxim picked for each card. And when I saw that, when I say I squealed like a little girl, oh my goodness, it was amazing. I love it. So if you want just like a quick, if you're reading and you don't want to like get into the like 3 or 4 pages, some of them are super long, especially in the majors. You've got like 5 or 6 pages for some of them of information about their myth. So if you don't want to get into all that while using these cards, you can just either do a quick snippet of the beginning of the myth, or just use the Delphic Maxim as like an oracle message, literally an oracle message. Oh, I love it so much. Which, so far as I've seen, they're really related to the choice of tarot card. It's such a good job of associating them, as well as being like an added layer, a little something extra. They don't feel like little white book meanings. They feel deeper. They feel, oh, it's got the resonance of the weight of the power of mythology behind it. So, anywho, let's flip through some cards before we take a look and see. But like, we've got Pegasus, Graces, they're all listed here. So the tarot meaning, or the tarot card association is there, who it is. In this case, the Two of Cups is Eros and Psyche. The Maxim, the myth, and then the meaning. So you've got a descriptive meaning here. So like the myth stands on its own in its own context, and then we get more of a spiritual meaning, or the purpose, or more of the message kind of distilled out of it for you here too. And look at it go. Look at it go. Oh, and then there's an upright and reversed divinatory meaning at the end also, on top of all of the other information. So it's so much and so wonderful. So I think it's so cool. So let's look at some cards before the sun disappears on us, and pull some cards again before the sun disappears on us. Here's some gorgeous backs, which are almost reversible. It's one of those ones where if you're looking, you can tell, but if you're not looking, which it seems to be the trend these days, where it's like, oh, it looks like it's reversible, but then if you know you've got a keen eye, you can tell when they're not. But beautiful though, love that. And they're good and big. They're thin. It's not a review. We're just playing. We're just looking. I don't have to go into like 8 million hours of detail, but yeah, no, they're really quite beautiful. Got that one in my interview spread. It's Phaeton. It looks like it's Helios or even Apollo, but it's not. It's Helios' son Phaeton when he steals his chariot, which is fun. Nice take on that one. Got Pan for the 9 there. Golden Fleece. It's a boar hunt. This one's lovely. Look at this. This is Theseus, the Labyrinth. Oh, I forget who she is. I see this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, oh, I need to Google this. And by Google, I mean open the book. This is Cassandra. It's eight of swords, or 8 of wind. And the Delphic Maxim is restrain the tongue. but ultimately does boil down to the Eight of Swords meaning of feeling trapped, hindered, unable to speak, unheard, hands tied, backed into a corner, paralyzed, victimized, etc., etc. There's Asclepius there. I'm still getting used to the colored borders because it has no title, it's just the numbers on it. So, practice. Yes. So he's the Mortal of Flame. So he'd be the Page of Wands, is Asclepius. Tell what you know. There's Arachne there. As the Five of Cups. No. Again, the colors, the dark blue. The dark blue is swords. Sorry, the Five of Swords is Arachne. And is Perseus, yeah. With Medusa's head there. Nice. There's the Tower card. Oh yeah, those ones are the majors. Typhon, I think? Idealist of Wind. It's Antigone, yes. Yes. The daughter of Oedipus and Jocasta. Yeah. Anywho, there's a lot. There's so much you can go into. And I feel like, oh, this is amazing. It's so much, there's a great choice of, of people included in this one, like a wide breadth of characters. 3 is the Empress, and that's Hera there. And that one there is Justice. Yeah. The Orestia, be overcome by justice. And it's, so Aeschylus is one of the great dramatic writers. And one of the Orestia, one of the plays that he wrote, the overarching theme is justice regarding, like, circling around violence and revenge. Retaliation, blighted family. I've got Hera there. I knew this would happen. I have to look up every bloody card. 2 of Swords is Helen of Troy, which is I think that's fun. That's a good choice. And so the Judgment card is a great choice too. It's the mysteries, all of the mystery traditions. So we've got Eleusinian, Dionysian, and Orphic as well. So they're all kind of rolled into one. Its Delphic maxim is find fault with no one. So that's fun. I like the initiatory experience literally being like Ascension Judgment type of moment, access to new place. It fits really well. I like that a lot. The Graces, but of course, Rejoice in Festival. Poseidon here as well. Anyway, you get the vibe. That's Pygmalion Galatea there. Circe. Hephaestus. Oh, that's a Pentacles card. The 8 of Pentacles, obviously. Yes, yes. Pegasus. 8 of Wands. 9 of Pentacles. Artemis. 2 of Pentacles. Don't remember who the 2 of Pentacles is. Castor and Pollux. Discovery. Do not be fickle in friendship. Yeah, they were born from an egg along with their twin half-sisters, Clytemnestra and Helen of Troy. Their mother was Leda, Queen of Sparta. And it gives you everything. It gives you, like, all of the associations, all of the family, the timeline, everything. It's all in here. It's so good. This would make a great Hellenic Oracle guidebook also. It's so good. You can use it as an oracle, or you could do the tarot meaning. It's wonderful. There's a Cyclops. Polyphemus. Is the demon of air, so Knight of Swords. 5's the Hierophant there. Tiresias. Exercise religious silence. That's important. Gotta remember that. Shut my mouth every so often. Oh, and Athena gets 2 cards in this one, which is fun. So this one in particular, the Ace of Swords, she's got her own other card, but this one particularly, it's the event of her being birthed from Zeus's head, which is a very unique and special kind of event. So she got her own card for that, which is great. Medea on the 5 of Cups. Oh, who's the 4 of Wands? It's a wedding of some sort. Marriage of Cadmus and Harmonia. Praise harmony. Yeah. Love it. Cadmus was mortal, Harmonia was goddess, and from them, wonderful things happened. Zeus is the emperor. Love him there. Great one. Iris the rainbow and Hermaphrodite there on the temperance card, which is a great temperance card. I love that one. Jason on the 3, which is wonderful. That's so cool. Dionysus here is the hangman. This is such an interesting card, and I'm sure it was done on purpose, but the 12's upside down. And it's not supposed to be like this, because all the other cards have their number on the top. It's just this one. But he works well for the hanged man. Queen of Stone was Europa? Yeah, there's the cow. King of Stone, Hades. Yes. And they're definitely playing on the him being Lord of the Underworld, kind of owner of wealth and all of the abundance and resources in the world as well, which is really quite cool. Now we're looking at that one. Oh, Orpheus and Eurydice for the 8 of Cups. Yes. Yeah. 7 of Cups. Who is the 7 of Cups? Proteus. Be farsighted. Ocean god, first son of Poseidon. The old man in the sea. The specific quality is that of changeability, with an emphasis on radical alteration or sea change. Other skill is seeing the future, which he dislikes doing for mortals. He will oblige the querent if caught, but he changes his shape to avoid doing so. When caught, he must reveal the truth to the querent, for he is incapable of lying. Fun! Oh, I'm so excited. Hermes is the magician. Look at him. Look at him. You got the turtles at the bottom. I'm in love as per usual. Really, I've been saved. I haven't read the write-up on that one just yet. 3 of Stone is that Icarus? Hold on. Daedalus. Sorry, Icarus' dad. Do what you mean to do, which for the 3 of Daedalus makes an excellent 3 of Stone Pentacles. Oh wait, Medea was the 3 of Swords. Who was the 5 of Cups then? Hold on. I lied to you about the 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups was Demeter. Why do they always do this to me? 5 of Cups is Demeter waiting for Persephone. Okay, fine. And by waiting for, I mean looking for, being sad and unable to do her job. Medea is the 3 of Swords. Yeah. Star. Star, we've got Eos, as well as catasterism, which is a word that I need to be better at pronouncing. It's a Greek word for constellations. So the star is constellations, as well as Eos, the dawn. Pandora. 9 of Swords. Good choice. Good choice. Good choice. 9 of Swords. Pandora opening the box. It's the same. It's brilliant. Love it so much. Apollo. It's our sun card. Sisyphus. 10 of Wands. Oh. Wheel of Fortune. Was a different one. Hold on. Oedipus is the Wheel of Fortune. Do not trust fortune. Yes. Which I guess that's the Sphinx, so that makes sense. I was like, what's the... Oh, yes. It's the interest... It's... Yeah. It's weird that it's like the stone Sphinx, but in like an Egyptian context, which Hellenic Egypt is a thing, or Hellenistic Egypt is a thing, but it's... Yeah. Yeah. The 12, so the Demon of Waves, which is the Knight of Cups, is the Furies, which is an interesting choice. The Delphic maxim for this one is pursue wow, I can't talk. Pursue virtue. Which is very interesting. Hold on, let me see how it relates to tarot in the book real quick. Taking action, following your heart. chivalry, emotional honesty, being swept off your feet, remorse, self-evaluation, passion, caring, daring, sensitivity, tough love, psychic abilities, negotiator, poetic justice. So it just kind of throws a bunch of words for you at the end there, but very interesting. The Furies, or also known as the Erinyes, lands on the Knight of Cups. But I guess it's the demon. It's supposed to be slightly, like, I guess not negative influence, I guess. So we get to work with it. Should be fun. There we go. Strength is Athena. Amazing. Gorgeous. In charge. And this is a fun one. This is the Six of Stone. And it is Bacchus and Philemon help those in need. Growing bored with Olympus, Zeus and Hermes decided one day to see how the other half lived. Slumming it for a lark, the gods dressed as beggars and wandered around the small village in Phrygia. Phrygia, I can never say that. Asking what townspeople they met for a place to stay for the night. To their dismay, everyone rejected them. Homeowners bolted their doors and spoke harsh terms to the gods, which amused Hermes and angered Zeus. Finally, on the outskirts of town, wandering vagabonds came upon the humble cottage of Philemon and Bacchus. Bacchus? B-A-U-C-I-S. The aging couple ushered the strangers in and plied their guests with food and wine without a second thought. After a time, Philemon noticed that although she had filled Hermes' cup many times, the wine pitcher she obtained the libation from remained full. Baucis realized that his guests must be gods, and they ran to the yard to fetch his prize goose to roast for the strangers. The goose ran past them and jumped into Zeus's lap, seeking protection. Zeus declared that no feast of roast goose was needed, and instead Philemon and her husband should leave everything behind and climb up the nearest hill. The elderly couple did, never daring to look back until they reached the summit. When they turned to survey the village, they saw that Zeus and Hermes had flooded it, destroying everything except their humble cottage. Then, before their eyes, the cottage was metamorphosed into a temple dedicated to Hermes and Zeus, of which the couple were made custodians. When asked by Hermes if he could grant Bacchus and Philemon a wish, the loving husband and wife asked for a moment to confer with one another. Their request was simple: to serve the gods for the remainder of their lives, and when the time came to leave this world, that they do simultaneously to avoid the suffering of the loss of one another. Some years later, when the couple died, as a promise at the same time, Bacchus and Philemon were turned into an intertwining pair of trees: an oak, symbol of justice and strength, and Zeus, and a linden with its heart-shaped leaves. So lovely! And look, there's a little, he's holding a leaf. It's a linden leaf. Anyway, sorry, you just got me to read you a whole chunk of myth. So yeah, that's the whole, that's just the myth part. There's also 2 more pages of the meaning behind it. This is going to be so good. I think that's Aries there on the King of Wands. Yeah, it is. 4 of Stone. Is that Midas? Yep. King Midas. His golden touch. Ganymede and Ganymede. Honor the hearth. It's a Trojan horse. The 6 of Wands. Mortal. 11s are mortals. Mortals of wind. Alexander the Great. Do not depend on strength. Ooh. Ace of Stone. Is Io. That's Hera there, being difficult. Narcissus. It's the 4 of Cups. This is the Judgment of Paris. This was one I got in my introductory reading. Really beautiful. Poor guy. He started the Trojan War by accident, but really the point is there was really no good choice for what to happen other than give Eris back the Apple of Discord, so anyway, it's all good. Cronus there. It's the King of Swords, yes. Yes. Ten of Cups, Hesperides. Minotaur. It's the Demon of Wands. Oh, I'm doing good now. I say that. Four of Swords. Who's the Four of Swords? The Golden Bow. Use time sparingly. Mortal of Stone. Croesus. Gain possessions justly. Two of Cups, Theros and Psyche, which we like to see. Really no other choice for that one. Ten of Swords. Who's the Ten of Swords? Achilles. It's Achilles. I should have known. There's a spear right through his foot / ankle. Or heel. Two, High Priestess. It's Persephone. Makes sense. The dog's there. And her pomegranate. The Fool. The Fool is Homer. I remember that one. Seven of Stone are the Muses, featuring Sappho. There's them all in the background there. Really cool. Medusa. It's the Demon of Stone. Makes sense also. The Lovers. So it's Aphrodite, Persephone, and Adonis. Both of them fell in love with him. So it's kind of going for the Marseille, like it mentioned, the choice aspect of that one. Really quite cool. Hecate, as well as the Moirai. Is that right? Or just Hecate for the moon? No, Hecate and Selene. That's what it is. The moon card. Dirt. Yeah, Hecate featuring Selene. Gratify without harming. Selene is the personification of the moon. And then we've got our Maiden Mother Crone imagery on it as well, which is lovely. And then the wolves. So cool. Very good. Nine of Wands. Heracles. Didn't look like a lion skin, but it is. Hercules and his labors. Hippolyta. It's the Queen of Wands there. Queen of the Amazons. I forget her name. The Five of Stone. She had lots of children though. Niobe? Niobe, yes. And she like bragged about having lots of children, and then she ended up, there was lots of, not lots of death, but death because of it. Yeah, down look to no one. It's about humility, like everything really. Death is Thanatos. Oh, and it gives you the some symbols of the deities specifically in the majors in here. So the butterfly, poppy, sword, inverted torch, and the theta, Greek letter. Grieve for no one. Thanatos, god of death. That's so cool. Okay, chaos again, or Ace of Wands. The devil is Prometheus. Which is interesting. I want to have to read on that one. And why it's there. Chiron is the hermit. I do like that one usually. I've seen him. Have I seen him in that position before? Not sure, but it makes sense. Gaia is the world, featuring a snake. Nake-ish there. Does it say who it is? I should. I feel like it just says Gaia. But snake and cosmic egg. You get the gist, right? There's like an egg shape in behind her. The Great Mother, worshipped since Neolithic times and beyond. Mother Nature, creator and destroyer. In Orphic theogonies, she bears the cosmic egg, whose offspring is the union of male and female energies known as Fannies. Yep, there she is. Gaia. And then our last one here is the Ace of Cups, which I'm pretty sure is Aphrodite. Yes. Yes, it is. My gosh, we did it. We got through the whole thing. Okay, so that's a good, very brief look at the ODYSSEAN Tarot. Mostly I just, you know, when play around, look at the cards, see who they are, and all that jazz, but like, I feel like I have so much time to spend with that book and in so much detail about each of them. Like, he did such a good job. There's just such a respect and a reverence for the myth in the context of how they were experienced back in the day. So, I'm gonna give this is, I can't riffle shuffle it regularly. It's a side shuffle. It's getting a bit of a bow. So I would like today, I think, I want 2 cards. So I'm gonna pick 2 cards, which is gonna have my message for today, and we're gonna read about them together in depth in the book. I have no specific question other than what I need to know right now. No, I think just what I need to know. I need to keep an eye out for right now. Alrighty. So I have shuffled. I feel am I in all the way? Almost. Oh, my space. I want this is the kind of deck that's gonna fan so well. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, where are my 2? Who's today? Here. 1. Who's the next one? Whoa. It's over here. That one. Alright. We got 2. We got our 2. How thrilling. Who could they be? Who could they be? The Tower. Typhon. And the 3 of Swords. This is what I need to look out for right now. Love to see it. Go into the book. 16, the Tower. The Typhonomachy. Reverse a sense of shame is the Delphic maxim. Gee, thanks. Typhon, the most dangerous monster in Greek myth, resulted from 2 momentous incidents. The first was the Typhonomachy, a 10-year battle between most of the Titans and the younger generation of Olympian gods. No sooner had Zeus successfully imprisoned the Titans in Tartarus and assumed sovereignty over the universe that a new threat arose. The Titans were not Gaia's only children. She also gave birth to a race of giants who possessed great strength, exhibited great aggression, and whose bodies were a significant proportion. They were very big. The second battle for control of the cosmos that ensued was called the Gigantomachy, which saw the giants destroyed by the Olympian gods. Just as she had been unhappy with how both Ouranos and Kronos treated her children, Gaia was displeased with how the Olympians treated her Titan and giant children. Consequently, Gaia mated with Tartarus and gave birth to Typhon, the would-be heir apparent of Ouranos, Kronos, and Zeus. According to tradition, Typhon was raised by the chthonic python of Delphi. Descriptions of Typhon test the limit of man's ability to imagine the terrible. Between 50 and 100 heads, each one fire-breathing, snakes for legs, wild animals such as lions, boars, and bears growing out of his arms, every hair on his body belching viper poison, emitting noise that pierced the soul, and so huge that his head touched the stars. When not terrorizing the universe, Typhon somehow mated with nymphs, and the like, to produce the most terrifying monsters of Greek myths canon. The Chimera, the Hydra, the Nemean lion, Cerberus, the Gorgons, the Harpies, Scylla, and the Sphinx. When Typhon assailed Olympus, all the Olympians fled in fear, with the exception of Athena, who stayed to fight the beast. As a way of hiding their identity, the other gods fled to Egypt and turned themselves into animals. Apollo became a hawk, Hermes an ibis, Ares the fish, Artemis a cat, Dionysus a goat, Hephaestus an ox, and Leto a mouse. Athena could not defeat Typhon herself, and soon the monster had taken possession of Mount Olympus. With the adamantine sickle Cronus had used against Ouranos, Zeus attacked Typhon, but Typhon captured Zeus in his snaky limbs, snatched away the sickle, and used it to cut out Zeus's sinews. Typhon then carried the limp Zeus to his lair, where he set Delphine, sister serpent of Python, to guard over Zeus and his severed tendons. The Olympians by this time were becoming desperate, so Dionysus hatched a plan. While Pan played the panpipes to beguile Typhon, and Apollo played the lyre to bemuse Delphine, Hermes snuck into the cave and restored Zeus's sinews to his master's incapacitated body. Still distracted by Pan, the Fates fed the inattentive Titan ephemeral fruits, which sent him into a torpor, allowing Zeus to retrieve the thunderbolts from the monster and attack him with them. The great battle that ensued with all the Olympians lasted a day and into the night. With devastation being unleashed on the world, rivers turned to dust, seas were made dry, and places swelled to overflowing in others. Animals and plants were killed in the millions, and the land was laid to waste. The final battle occurred when the dawn came, which saw the four winds joining forces with the Olympians. Frozen, burnt, and covered in lacerations, Typhon finally fell. The Olympians, then headed by Zeus, buried Typhon under Mount Etna, the Sicilian volcano, where the beast burnt to a cinder. After the smoke finally cleared, Zeus resumed his role as the undefeated ruler of the universe, his ego intact but perhaps taken down a few notches. Born of the earth goddess Gaia, Typhon is essentially a storm god, connected with volcanic fire, floods, and tempestuous winds, i.e. typhoons. Typhon shows that the gods are not all-powerful or all-knowing and can potentially be defeated. The Olympians had fought and won two massive wars, and believed that finally they were safe from the eternal threats of their Olympian sanctuary. Instead, rebellion boiled up from an internal source. Zeus's own grandmother, and the great mother of all, Gaia, is also essential to the knowledge of oracles, often symbolized by serpents, the most famous example being the Python of Delphi. Indeed, Gaia is Python's mother, along with its sister Delphine, who features in the Titanomachy. With the appearance of a snake in Greek mythology, the fundamental reality of the Great Mother is afoot. Typhon's father was Tartarus, more a primordial force than a personified god. Its position in the lowest point of Hades and the location where wicked forces are imprisoned suggests an allusion to hell, damnation, and evil. That Tartarus is dark, foreboding, unimaginable, and a place where things we cannot countenance are kept out of sight. It aligns psychologically with the unconscious. As self-appointed sovereign of the self, I like that, the ego is frightened by the unwieldy power of the unconscious and fears being toppled by the dark unknown. The Titanomachy illustrates not only the ultimate ineffectiveness of suppressing those fears, but shows how suppression, repression, and denial only succeed in redoubling the power of the suppressed, repressed, and denied. So here we're coming back into revere a sense of shame. It says, oh yes, revere. I might have said, not revere. What did I say when I read it first? Reverse? Might have. Oh gosh, there's so much more to read! After the Titanomachy, Zeus divvied up the duties and patronage among the gods. This suggested that instead of trying to secure power entirely for himself, Zeus learned from this encounter with Gaia's manifested anger to share power with his fellow gods. And the gods are analogous to archetypes, and the self is a conglomerate of archetypes. The lesson here is that too much power focused in one place is both extremely dangerous and fundamentally weak. This is underscored by how the gods had to work together to defeat Typhon. In psychological terms, the ego must share its power with the disparate aspects of, or archetypes of the subconscious, which make up the self. If a delegated balance is not achieved, the threat of a fell demon swells from the depths, promising to level the top-heavy asymmetry. Sinews, which were stolen from Zeus, as we were talking about before, are the strings that hold a person together and are pulled to operate the muscles. When Typhon removed them from Zeus, the thundering puppet master could not move a muscle, let alone play the strings of his fellow Olympians. The god of order was in disarray. Zeus's son Apollo, however, was able to hypnotize the wild Typhon with the sinews of his lyre. The plot to rescue Zeus was hatched by Dionysus, who was familiar with having his body torn to pieces in the ritual known as sparagamus. Like his son, Zeus was put back together, and through this experience learned to rein in his tendency to hubris, which, as ego-centered Allfather, is the natural tendency in italics, pun. The connection between sinews creating sound out of air, arrows shot from bows at distant targets, and feckless Zeus being revivified signifies kairos, opening a door to what is not there, creating something from nothing, or the ancient Greek version of string theory. The story of the gods fleeing to Egypt, becoming animals, is arguably a syncretization between Greek and Egyptian mythology. The Greek gods were often associated with the gods of other cultures, just as they assimilated aspects of foreign gods of their own. Typhon, for instance, is often equated with the Egyptian Set, while Osiris is seen as a version of Zeus and Horus. This is a variation of the idea of ego sharing power with the archetypes of the personal, collective, unconscious. Upright and reverse meanings: chaos, destruction, sudden upheaval, trauma, unexpected change, disaster, loss, tragedy, revelations, confusion, pain, fear, abuse, violence, bankruptcy, natural disasters, revelation, epiphany, reevaluation, and new dispensation. And it's not reversed, so we won't read the reversed one. So that's the first card. So much going on there. But what a fun tower. And we're mixing that with the Three of Swords over here. Let's just go in. Let's just go into it. Why not? I'm not ripped to pieces from that one single card. Do not be overcome with self-pity. So shame and self-pity is what I need to know about right now, based on my question. How fun. Medea is someone you want in your corner, and someone you don't want to cross. Medea was the daughter of King Aetes of Colchis, the niece of Circe, and the granddaughter of Helios, the sun god. She was a sorceress, like her aunt, and a devoted follower of Hecate. When Jason arrives in Colchis to retrieve the Golden Fleece, Medea falls in love with the young adventurer. Realizing this, Jason begins a relationship with her. Eventually, she promises to help Jason in his endeavor if he promises to love and marry her, which he does. King Aetes gives Jason several seemingly impossible tasks before he will surrender the fleece, none of which Jason could have accomplished without Medea's wisdom and magic. When Aetes reneged on his promise to hand over the fleece, Jason and Medea fled Colchis with the object and Medea's brother, Abstertus, in pursuit. Realizing they couldn't outrun the entire Colchis fleet, Medea learned that lured her brother onto the Argo with her magic, and while they were talking, Jason stabbed him in the back. Jason and Medea then cut up the body into pieces and dropped them in the water, one by one, as they went. The Colchis fleet was obliged to stop and retrieve every last piece of Abstertus so that Aetes could give his son a proper burial. In this way, Medea and Jason escaped from Colchis with the Golden Fleece. When Jason returned to Thessaly, his uncle Peleus refused to give him the throne, as he had promised. Having reinvigorated Jason's aging father, Aeson, with her magic, Medea was implored by the daughters of Peleus to do the same for their father. Medea found an old ram, butchered it into pieces before Peleus' daughter put it in a pot with sacred herbs, and out jumped a young, sprightly ram. She claimed she could do the same for the girl's father, so the excited girls ran to their father, cut him up into pieces, and threw him in the pot. Medea, however, declined to revivify Peleus. Jason and Medea then moved to Corinth, where Medea, among other things, ended a famine and rebuffed the advances of Zeus out of respect for Hera. After having numerous children together and living happily for 10 years, Jason threw Medea over for Glauca, daughter of Corinth's king Creon. Medea, hiding her rage, sent a wedding dress to Glauca. During the marriage ceremony, the dress burst into flames. Creon rushed over to remove it, but was instantly burned to death along with his daughter. Jason could only look in terror. At this point in the story, there are numerous variations. In its earliest tellings, the citizens of Corinth rose up and killed Medea's children. In another version, Medea accidentally killed her own children by burying them alive in the temple of Hera, believing this would make them immortal. In Euripides' telling, Medea killed 2 of her children in order to hurt Jason out of pure vengefulness and spite. Helios then sent a golden chariot pulled by serpents to rescue Medea, who flies away to Thebes. This last version, where Medea commits filicide, has become the most popular. That is the one I am most familiar with also. In Thebes, Medea cured Heracles from the curse put on him by Hera. Medea then flew to Athens, where she met and married Theseus' father, Aegeus. Aegeus was important and believed he was childless. 2 things Medea corrected. When Theseus arrived, Medea feared for her position and that of her son, Metis. With Aegeus, Having convinced her husband that Theseus was an impostor, she handed the stranger a poisoned cup of wine. Just as Aegis recognized the sword he carried was his own, Aegis knocked the cup from Theseus' hand, and Medea fled back to her home, the city of Colchis. There she found that her uncle, Perses, has usurped her father, Aeetes, and kept him locked up in a cell. Wasting no time, Medea killed her uncle and freed her father. It is said Medea lived out the remainder of her life in solitude, devoted to Hera and Hecate. Busy lady. The reoccurring male interpretation of the Medea story is one of warning about what happens when a woman gets too powerful and the deep, dark, irrational treachery of women writ at large. As with any figure in Greek mythology whose story is so involved and varied, Medea and the meaning she contains cannot easily be summed up or dismissed. This is so true about everything, and whenever I talk about the Hellenic Oracle, that's kind of how I feel. She's resourceful and resilient, duplicitous and deadly, yet she is also vulnerable. She suffers emotionally and psychologically. She gives up her homeland to elope with Jason, who then betrays her, loses her place in Athens, and finally returns to the land of her birth to face the father she betrayed. While it could be argued that Medea suffers from chronic bad luck, her skill with magic clearly shows that she was shown favor by the gods. The chariot Helios sends her to escape the ire of Jason, and all of Corinth, together with her incredible reservoir of strength, argues that Medea truly has the status of a goddess. Unlike most female figures in Greek mythology, Medea is intelligent, audacious, and capable of violent actions, customarily reserved for men. As a woman who is proactive and an agent of her own destiny, she has become a symbol of freedom, empowerment, and liberation. She is the colonized who turns the tables on her colonizers. Medea's story is also about betrayal. First, there is Medea's betrayal of her father, but not before he betrays Jason by trying to have him killed and reneging on his promise. Then there's Medea's betrayal of Peleus, but not before he betrays Aeson and Jason, trying to have the latter killed and reneging on his promise. Then there's Medea's betrayal of Jason, but not such before he betrayed her with Glauca. Less ambiguous betrayals exist, but such as Medea's betrayal of her brother. But even there, Absyrtus attempted to kill Medea first. Not as in an eye for an eye, but for stealing an object. Whether Medea actually killed two of her children is undecided, with many claiming this was the latter invention by those who hated and feared Medea. Whatever the case, this is one of the most startling aspects of the myth, and what most people remember about Medea. Although filicide was committed by other figures in Greek mythology, including Kronos, Agamemnon, Tantalus, and Hercules. He did. He definitely did. Did bad stuff. Medea's story is also about giving too much, sacrificing too much of yourself and the things that make you who you are for high ideals such as love, justice, and loyalty. Psychologically, Medea's series of struggles with her father and brother, with her husband Jason, with her status in Athens, and finally full circle with her father back home in Colchis, is the struggle of a divided self, specifically the struggle between the superego and the id. The arbiter of such a struggle is the ego. Although Medea follows her passion against tradition, society, and accepted gender roles, she does so with logic and a belief in fairness. After she has killed her brother, for instance, she insists on stopping at Aea to receive forgiveness for Jason and herself from Circe, who's her aunt. This shows that Medea believes in the legitimacy of the proper standards and principles of civilized humanity. While Medea's trust in right conduct is sometimes affirmed with her father's forgiveness, others repeatedly do not hold up their end of the bargain. This is one of the crucial aspects of the Three of Swords. Learning from mistakes is the hard way. How to stay true in a world of falsehoods. And is truth even possible, let alone desirable, in such a world? That's a meaning right there. I'm just going to read that a little bit again. This is one of the crucial aspects of the Three of Swords. Learning from mistakes the hard way. How to stay true in a world of falsehoods. And is truth even possible, let alone desirable, in such a world? Interesting. And then our upright meaning, heartbreak, betrayal, loneliness, removal, absence, division, depression, separation, sadness, running away, unhappiness, upheaval, grief, sorrow, upset, disorder, confusion, alienation, loss, distraction, vengeance, conflict, self-recrimination, trauma, the cold, hard truth, and disillusion. The amount of keywords on these meanings. This would be really good if you're like, if you use tarot when you're writing and you're looking for like another word for the vibe of that card. Like if you've got a Three of Swords moment in your story that you're trying to flesh out, the keywords in this, there's a ton of them. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes and we've gone through 2 cards. So like this deck is huge. This deck is everything. This deck is so much. But for me right now, obviously there's a lot of churning, tumultuous, active, fiery energy brewing, and it's brewing internally. There's a question of how power should be used and how it is expected to happen. I don't know, feels like a lot. I'm having a hard time articulating the words of how these 2 cards specifically feel because it's so much, but look at that. Look at it. Look at them. That is so powerful. The art on this is good. And then our 3. So she's got her little babies. This deck, I feel like I'm gonna want to use it like almost at a 1 card pull at a time. Like this is like use as Oracle and then just spend some time, because even in the 2, it's so much. It's so much. But I do like it. It's so fun. So much in this book. This book is amazing. This book is worth it for the cost of the deck alone, I feel. Also, I just want to show you guys as well. Let's see if I can do this right. Oh, hey. Oops. Oh, can I not? There we go. Hey, it's me. I turned this off. Oh. Look at this. It's so cool. There's the moon. That's what we were going for. It's full tonight, and that's what it looks like out the window as I'm reading away. But yeah. There we go. And we're back. Nope. There we have it. Okay. Back to where we were. But yes, so the ODYSSEAN Tarot. That's been a little hang and chat and a quick little reading. A quick little reading. Can you believe it? What lies do I spew from my mouth? It was not quick at all. It was like 20 minutes of me reading for 2 cards. But this is beautiful. I'm enjoying. So keep an eye on Chris Leach's website if you're interested. If you are, you don't have to be. It's fine. But it was a Kickstarter, and it will be for sale permanently at some point. But you know, I'm not a shopping channel, but if you want it, it'll be around. Let me know if you need a link or something. But yeah, there's a lot here, and I feel like there's so much to gain from this within the context of tarot as well as mythology. Like the silly part of my brain wants to be like, throw out all of your tarot decks and just keep this one. But that's obviously unrealistic because I can't, like, the way I like to do readings for other people when I just like make my mountain of cards and read organically. I can't do that with this deck, but boy, do I wish I could. Maybe come back to me in like 5 years once I've had this for a while and I've used it so much. Could you imagine getting so good at using this deck that I could just like spew the greatness just out of my mouth like that? So good. Anywho, love that this exists. Been waiting for it my whole life. This is, I think I was talking to someone else about it, but like this is why I didn't make a Greek mythology deck, because I knew this gem was I didn't know, but I had a feeling that this gem was coming. It was about to exist, and I couldn't make anything quite like this, so why try? But it's amazing, and it will probably pair quite well with the Hellenic Oracle too, just for fun. beautiful. It is so beautiful. Yeah, obsessed. Wow. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little hangout sesh with the ODYSSEAN Tarot. It's been fun. I had a great time. And I'll catch you later, I guess. Yeah, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. See all you fine folks in my next video.